Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I am doing a deck profile for my Weevil Underwood character deck. Now before we get into this one, I will warn those of you who haven't watched the channel before, I do ramble on a little bit in these videos. I do like to tell anecdotes about the deck and stuff like that, and in this particular instance I am going to be complaining about Insect Queen quite a lot. So if you're the kind of person that's going to complain about that later, just use the video chapters in the description. There's a reason why they're there. I will not be offended, that's totally fine. But anyway, we are going to be doing our Weevil Underwood character deck today, so welcome! Set the spider to the fly. I really wouldn't have thought this would be the next deck that I profiled on this series, but to be honest, he's kind of earned it. He's been really hitting it out of the park recently, to be honest with you. It's a surprisingly good deck considering the massive lack of offensive spells and traps, and it's surprisingly capable of comebacks and stuff, despite having not really many spells and traps to combo with and stuff like that. And obviously we have a lot of bead sticks in it, but yeah, it's pretty good at staying in a duel, even with characters that have much bigger card pools. It is a surprise that I'm doing this one next row over any of the others that I haven't done yet, but in fairness, I suppose if I was ever in the mood to do any of those, I would have done them by now. So a bit like some of the other profiles, the reason why I'm doing this one now is because I'm going to take Insect Queen out. I knew that if I posted the video without Insect Queen, then people would complain about it, like they did with the Bandit Keith deck profile, despite the fact that I literally talk about it in the video. And yeah, I thought we'll profile it with her, and then when we get there, I'll rant on about why I'm taking her out, and yeah, we'll get to that. But one more thing, I'll also run you through a series of rules that we have for outlining these character decks, what is eligible and stuff like that. So this is sticking with the original Duel Monsters series. It has nothing modern in it. No Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, unlike in Legacy of the Duelist, where you have to duel him in Duelist Kingdom, and he has his Cocoon of Ultimate Evolution, and this is out turn 1 against you. I guess you literally have to hope he doesn't draw it to beat him. And we have a number of deck building rules that we like to stick to. We try and keep this as close to the anime as possible, so we have one copy of every card as much as we can. But there's extra dispensation there for cards that were used in multiple copies, only work in multiple copies, or if it's kind of funny and it helps you get up to the deck count. Like for example with Weevil, if you wanted to play 3 basic insect, I don't think anyone would be mad about that. Anime effects tend to take precedence as well. We allow everyone to use one copy of Card of Sanctity, Pot of Greed, and Graceful Charity. A number of cards go in the extra deck which normally wouldn't, like for example this Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. We'll come back to that later. Ritual monsters also go in the extra deck, and that is basically just down to the fact that in the anime these things just sort of appeared. They weren't really cards themselves. And there's probably lots of other things that are worth mentioning as well, but you know, none of them particularly spring to mind, so we'll come back to that later if it's relevant, and you'll have had the things pop up on screen to give you a basic overview of the rules. Honestly, it probably doesn't include all of them. Honestly, I really need to at some point record me going through this whole thing so I don't have to try and say it and remember it every single time. But anyway, we're going to get into this. So first of all, we're going with the extra deck. So first of all, we have the Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth, and huge shout out to Tom for finally putting one of these in my hands. This might be my favourite boss monster from the olden days, but honestly it's really hard to choose. It looks really cool. I love the green and everything. It's possible Meteor Black Dragon is more so, but yeah, I mean, I think all of the cool old boss monsters were just really, really nice. But we put these in the extra deck because basically the whole line is bricks. Also, it wasn't really that they were their own cards. It was just evolutions upon the moth. So next we have the Great Moth, of course, and finally the Lava Moth. And we have ruled that if you destroy the Cocoon of Evolution before it's big enough to make Great Moth, you get Lava Moth. So it's not completely useless, you know, you do get something out of it. Not something worth having, but at least you don't lose everything, you know. And the other thing that's in the extra deck also doesn't really belong there in any other context, and that is a copy of Javelin Beetle. Yeah, Ritual Monsters in the extra deck for this format. Javelin Beetle's pretty cool. It gives Weevil another option of another boss monster and stuff, because there aren't an awful lot of them. And yeah, these early ritual monsters were really cool, so if there's an excuse for us to put it in the deck, like a thematic excuse, like it being an insect, then, you know, it just works, really. Next up, we have the main deck tribute monsters. We've got the 1/2 tribute monster, which is Insect Queen, and as promised earlier, I'm now going to ramble on about how shit this card is. This card fucking sucks. This is a 2 tribute monster with stats that would be okay if it was a 1 tribute monster. But you also have to tribute a third monster for this to attack for the first time to get the ball rolling. So this is a 3 tribute monster that is just about worth being a 1 tribute monster. Next up, once you start making the eggs aren't worth having. They don't do anything. There are 100 attack monsters that technically get summoned in attack mode, which means your opponent just needs to swing anything with 101 attack points during their turn to turn the Insect Queen off again, unless you tribute another monster, in which case you tribute 4 monsters for the Insect Queen. This would all be fine if Insect Queen benefited some way from having these things. She does gain the 200 attack points for having different insect type monsters on the field, but you've also tributed 3 of them before she can even attack. So there's not going to be that many of them around. And the eggs aren't very good. So, you know, it's the likelihood, you also have to tribute an egg every time it attacks. So you never get the numbers back. Like, that was the kind of misconception I had from the anime. It was like, you got the eggs for free, so she builds the eggs up and then feeds on the eggs to attack. That is not the case. She has to attack to make the egg. And if you look at the exact wording on this particular copy, it says you cannot declare an attack without offering 1 monster on your side of the field, which isn't how it actually works. It only applies to Insect Queen. But yeah, what is the payoff for this? There is no benefit to using this card. It really sucks. It sucks so bad. There's probably things that I've forgotten about that that make this a terrible card. And Insect Queen looks really cool. We all want Insect Queen to be cool. It's an original tin one, obviously. But she really, really sucks. So I'm taking this out, and I'm going to replace it with at least Metal Armored Bug, possibly Dread Scythe Harvester. I'm not entirely sure yet. The other boys are happy with that, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with it. But basically, my storyline answer, if anybody asks as to why I'm not playing Insect Queen in the future, is Joey took it. And he shouldn't have, because it's even more garbage in his deck. Next up, we have Empress Mantis as the 1 tribute. Well, look at that. The same attack stats. Isn't that convenient? I mean, if she could, like, use those defense points, if she could sit in defense and attack with her attack even still, but she could defend with the 2/4s, at least that would be something. There is no benefit to this card at all. 1 tribute Empress Mantis, you got the same points on the board without all of the messing around. And Empress Mantis is pretty cool. I remember using that a lot on one of the old video games. So yeah, not bad at all. Next up, we have Insect Princess, which has recently been upgraded to Ultra Rare. And honestly, she deserves it. There was a game quite recently where she just popped out at the end of the game, and basically, like, that was my plan for winning the game, was just clear things out in this, like, stalled out game. Clear insects out to build herself up and then, you know, kill the big thing. I had insect barrier out so no one could attack anywhere. She really would have had a moment in that game, and honestly, she's surprisingly versatile. It's quite easy to sort of build her up and get her to the points that she needs to. So she deserved the Ultra Rare upgrade. Not that it wasn't just a coincidence that I actually picked that up in a bundle recently. Next, we have the Petite Moth. Self-explanatory, obviously. We've got the basic insect. I still don't seem to have gone through my stuff and dug out a original copy of Basic Insect. There are a few things like that in this deck profile, for which I can only apologize. Why the hell? Where's that? Oh, that's in the sleeve. That dent's in the sleeve. That's good. Yeah, so I do apologize for that, because it just doesn't look as good. But yeah, we'll fix that eventually. Next, we have Killer Needle, Big Insect, and Gokabor. Probably don't need all 3 of the 1200 vanillas. Quite like Big Insect, and he would be the one for the drop, really, owing to the fact that, you know, these 2 are more used and stuff. They're more, like, had more character in the anime and so on. But I do like Big Insect. Yeah, probably don't need all 3 of them. Probably could cut some for space, but yeah, right now we're running the 3 of them. They're all cool guys, so shout out to Speed Duels for reprinting this, because the McDonald's pack one was pretty expensive. Shout out to Speed Duels for printing this in the first place. Next, we've got the more beat sticky vanillas. We've got Flying Kamakiri number 2. There is also supposed to be Giant Flea in this as well, but I just have never bothered to go through my, like, classic card stuff and dig one out. I guess, you know, the same as a Basic Insect. Next up, we have Girichin Kawagata and Neo Bug. There is supposed to be an Insect Knight in this as well, actually, but yeah, I couldn't find one, and then I got one in a bundle, and then I must have still not put that in. That must still be in the pile of stuff. Like, that must still be in the character deck pool, not actually being put in. But yeah, Insect Knight definitely belongs in here. I actually think I wasn't supposed to be playing Neo Bug, just because I thought with Insect Knight and the smaller boys, there's like too many beat sticks. But yeah, I don't know. Either Neo Bug will be dropped from the deck, or possibly, you know, the Flying Kamakiri instead, and we'll just go full beat stick. This Neo Bug is my copy from childhood. Next up, we have the effect monsters. First up, the flip monsters. We've got Man-Eater Bug. Speaking of childhood, this Man-Eater Bug, it doesn't get much more retro than this in my house. This is the man-eater bug that my brother pulled in the first pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards he ever bought that introduced us to the game. So, cool little factoid for you. It did have like a little thing, like a little mark under the fang that kind of made it look like the fang was gleaming. But looks like that's gone. It's kind of weird. Oh well, anyway, whatever. Next we've got Parasite. A lot of fun in a multi-way character game, and we have actually gotten this off a few times. So, yep. We've got 4-starred Ladybug of Doom. Just good clear-out card, I suppose. There are other flip monsters you can use as well, like Bombardment Beetle is an option. Might put that in at some point because, you know, it's just a card that never got to do anything, so it's ideal character deck fodder. We've got Prickle Fairy, surprisingly good, and, you know, massive ass on her, so really good wall. We've got Pinch Hopper. Again, we need to dig out a regular copy. Really good card. This, if you could, like, cheat out Insect Princess or something with this, it's really, really good. And obviously, we don't have a lot of big monsters for it to special summon, but, you know, it's still very useful, even in that situation. We got the one flying Kamakiri #1. It's just a floater. It's a floater for wind monsters, but it's surprisingly useful in this deck. And there's actually, like, even more targets than you'd think. Like, so we've got that at a pinch. We've got Kamakiri, Killer Needle. And if we wanted to, you can put in, you know, Insect Soldiers as a Sky Winged Cleaver and stuff like that to have more targets for it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Next, we got Lego. This guy had his MVP moment against a Joey deck when we were, like, fully stalled out. And he had Fairy Box out, and I was like, right, well, I'm not crashing my monsters into yours just to find out they have no attack points. So I played the Lego so I could attack directly, and then if its attack gets flipped to 0 from the Fairy Box, it doesn't really matter. Then I started juicing the Lego up, and it was so good. It's actually pretty important to Weevil in, you know, his later games in Battle City, so, you know, kind of needed to be in the deck, but it's nice to see that we've had some good use out of it as well. And this is actually a first ed MRD, and it's short print card from that set, so it's really cool. Next we have Howling Insect. Soul of the Duelist this card actually came out in. I always thought it was a little bit later on, but yeah, just another floater. Really cool. We've got Skullmark Ladybug. Gets you some life points back, not bad at all. We've got the Cocoon of Evolution, of course. Really cool card. And it's really funny, I didn't realize until later life that it equips from your hand, which is really cool. That makes it like infinitely more useful. Obviously, anime effects. So you summon this in face-up defense because anime, you equip the Cocoon, it's 2k. Lovely. That makes the whole thing a lot more realistic. And then you just stall out until you get your perfectly ultimate out. Next you have Drill Bug. This is one of the cards that is so cuttable, but I can't do it. It basically searches for Parasite, and that's all it does. And it's pretty cool. I always kind of liked it. Again, it's one of those cards that was always, you know, it was never used for anything. And that's what's funny about this Weevil character deck is it's not even optimal. It has so much janky crap in it. Like, all of these character decks, you kind of have these moves that you want to pull off, like anime combos or like even just janky stuff that you want to use that, you know, needed a script writing for it. And Weevil has loads of those cards, loads of just garbage throwaway cards that need a very niche situation for them to do anything. And more or less all of them have come up before, so they've all kind of earned a place in the deck. So the deck isn't even optimal, and it's still surprisingly good. Next up, we have Kaisitai. I kind of want to drop this because I've never really gotten the effect off, and it's not even an insect. But I do like Kaisitai, despite Tear giving me a trauma with it in childhood on one of the Game Boy Advance games. But yeah, possibly droppable. Next up, we have the Seal of Orichalcos. It's really good, helpful for juicing up your Legos and stuff like that. We literally just play this the way that it is written on the card because, you know, the actual anime effects are just mind-boggling. But Seal of Orichalcos and anyone that was like an Orichalcos Mind Slave, that's absolutely fine. And the extra 500 attack is very well appreciated. Next up, we have a Javelin Beetle Pact. Again, I haven't bothered actually digging this out from my classic card collection. Let's see what the proxy is. Oh, legit. I must have thrown this deck together at some point and then just never actually gone back to find all his cards, including for this deck profile, apparently. Next up, we have the 3 copies of Laser Cannon Armor, including this crappy Speed Duels one. Again, I just haven't come across a 3rd copy, really. But yeah, Laser Cannon Armor. In these character decks where they're pretty low on monsters, and since Weevil was kind of, you know, kind of had a thing for juicing his insects up, we have no bother with, like, just using the basic equip cards. I only play 1 Insect Armor with Laser Cannon, I did used to use multiple 7 completed in Keith. In fact, I still do. But that is not only thematic, but there's so many beat stick options to juice up with like 3 insect armor with laser cannon. So we steer clear of that. Next, we have Eradicating Aerosol. Again, speed duels copy. But, you know, surprisingly useful. Jade Insect Whistle. I won a game with this once. We fiber jarred, and the Parasite was still in his deck. I drew the Jade Insect Whistle, and I was like, right, get the Parasite out. The 1k burn damage from Parasite was enough to kill him at that point in the game. So really, really cool. Again, just a crappy card that never got to achieve anything. Literally has won me a game before. So yeah, we got Multiplication of Ants. Not the best card in the world, but like the tokens can be surprisingly useful sometimes if you just want to wall up or anything like that. So yeah, not bad at all. We got the Insect Barrier, of course. You know, very useful, surprisingly easy to infect all your opponent's monsters with insectism. So kind of helpful. We got Forest. Just throwaway stuff, and it's probably droppable to be honest. But it does juice up your insects. And then we of course have the Draw package, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, and Card of Sanctity with the anime effect. Finally, we're going to the only trap cards that we have in this deck. We've got the DNA Surgery. It's only fair to give him a second option of turning everything into insect, really. And it's a lot easier to pull that off than to Parasite someone, especially since Parasite only affects one player if we're playing multiplayer games. We got Infinite Dismissal, surprisingly good card. If you read this, it's garbage, but they actually clarified it later that it's basically all level 3 or lower monsters are destroyed the turn they played. So it's surprisingly good. It basically outs everything Joey can do. It's kind of funny, to be honest with you, and it's really not that bad of a card. We're completely different in the anime, like, but you know, this is what we got. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah, I bet the guys at Unicorn Cards were astonished when I actually ordered a copy of that. And the last thing we got here is Trap Hole. There also should be a Magic Jammer. We let every original series use Trap Hole and Magic Jammer, but again, I suppose I've never gone back and looked for the Magic Jammer and to put that in. So we need a Magic Jammer in it. We need a Giant Flea. We need Insect Knight. We need to upgrade a few things to the original versions and stuff like that. But generally speaking, it's a surprisingly cool deck. So that is everything for this deck. But if you did enjoy it, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the character deck playlist in the end screen for more. And I really do appreciate you guys joining me. So thank you all for watching, and goodbye.